Welcome back to the podcast you always needed, the only show on the internet that empowers men from a place of balance and common sense. I am your host, Sean Heshmatpour, also known as Sheshan on the internet, the proud owner of Sheshan's Life Coaching and the Divine Alchemy Brotherhood. I'm a truth seeker, a coach, a guide, and a mentor. And today, I want to get right into the topic of this episode for you. And that is the dark side of self-improvement. Now, this is something that has been a very deep part of my journey as a coach, as a student of the game of life. And it's also something I see in others in this space, from the other coaches I've talked with, newcomers who are in the game, students of mine, and overall friends in my network who are on a self-improvement journey. Now, I love self-improvement content. I love learning about myself. And as you know, I'm very involved in the craft. And for me, probably similar to you, it began as a form of curiosity, learning, wanting to improve your life. Maybe you wanted to become more disciplined, get healthier, start making your own money, or move up in your own career, having a career or a business that aligns with you, having better habits, building up your own self-confidence, whether that be in social settings, trusting yourself, dating women, inner work, healing, spirituality, whatever drew you into this world, it began as a curiosity, a way for you to find out how to feel free, how you could become more capable in life, a way for you to feel good about yourself, the direction you're headed to, and a path for you to get there. This is a lifestyle at the end of the day. One, to improve the areas of your life because staying stagnant just didn't feel good. And man, I resonate with that. And still to this day, by the way, I am never satisfied. I've gotten a lot better at it, but I'm personally never satisfied. Whenever I hit a new goal, I am always seeking the next thing, and I'm always looking for new ways to grow, expand, and stretch myself beyond my capacity, and wanting to learn more about myself and life in the process of it. But somewhere along the way, I started to see self-improvement, coaching programs, communities, and content all around this stuff become a prison for so many men out there. A way to fucking torture themselves. What once began as a lifestyle to feel better has now become a lifestyle to feel like fucking shit every single day. Dull, heavy, robotic, meaningless, always keeping up with everybody else, trying to fit a narrative of who you're supposed to be because of all the self-improvement teachings out there. There's abundance of information that exists online nowadays. And I want to dive with you today into the dark side of self-improvement with you on this episode, so you can learn more about yourself and what causes these issues while you're along the path, because I've seen it so many times before in life that I know if you're listening to this podcast, you've experienced this as well. I've been through it. My students have been through it. I've seen friends of mine go through it, like I said before. And honestly, it's a very crappy feeling, but it's completely normal. And it's not self-improvement itself that causes this. It is the mindset of who you are being in the process of growth, of self-improvement, that creates these negative feelings that make it feel like a trap or a prison. So let's get into some of the points I've laid out for you today. You know, like I said before, self-improvement starts as curiosity to escape a bad situation, to become better. You know, a lack of satisfaction in your life that you want to move forward from. Most men begin self-improvement because something in their life just wasn't working. And I'm sure you can resonate with that. Maybe you were overweight and unhealthy. Maybe addicted to porn, video games, drugs, alcohol, doom scrolling. Maybe you wanted to make more money. You were sick of being broke. You wanted to expand your career. You wanted to move up financially. You wanted to find a career that really suits you. You want to start that business. Or maybe it was from social reasons, social anxiety, how it affects your relationships, how it affects you from making new friends, expanding your network, and of course, dating beautiful women along the way. Self-improvement gives men hope. Self-improvement shows men that there's a way out of the struggle, the emptiness, the fears, and that you can do something about your life, that there is control that you have over your own decisions. And you know what? A lot of modern day therapy and psychiatry is so fucking fixated on overdiagnosing issues, putting you on medications, giving you labels with no advice, with no solutions. And they just want you to talk about your problems in therapy without any deep levels of self-understanding of what to do to move forward. Self-improvement, coaching, mentorship, spirituality, habit building, lifestyle crafting, all of these things are alternatives that actually work for men that the mainstream healthcare system has just not picked up on yet, or they just don't want to pick up on it yet because, they just profit off of your insecurities, your weaknesses, and poor health. That's another episode for another day. But once men start learning self-improvement and start getting into this lifestyle, and they start going to the gym, they go get out there, they start becoming more social, they work on their mindset through journaling, meditation, they build discipline, they do hard things, they start stretching their capacity, and they start seeing it works. A negative shift starts to happen for so many. Self-improvement stops being about improving their own life, and it starts becoming about fixing their self-worth. And that is a terrible, terrible fucking place to be in. It becomes an endless trap. It makes a lot of men feel worse before they got started. Now they feel like they always have to be more disciplined, more productive, more stoic, more masculine, more clever with women. And it feeds into this identity that is a complete load of shit that strips men away from ultimately being who they are. They lose their identity in the process. And I'm going to go a little bit more into identity later in this episode. But before we get into that, one point that I want to share with you is that I see with a lot of these guys that life becomes a bullshit game of ROI. When you tie your sense of self-worth into self-improvement and trying to optimize everything, you start scanning and looking out for everything and anything for it to have a high return on investment, not for you, but for your ego. You start thinking like this: is this activity productive? Should I be doing more right now? Am I not doing enough? You start feeling guilty for it. Should I really spend time with this person? I don't know. They're not really exactly on the same life trajectory as me. I switch all my TV shows and movies and podcasts for pleasure and fun, and now it's only self-improvement books and listening to podcasts on self-improvement, on optimizing your life. And I don't touch any junk food whatsoever. I eat healthy 24/7. You perform this boring ass character in front of new people and in front of the women that you meet as well along the way. Because everything that you see becomes about ROI and optimizing your life, and you just become a robot that's dull. And you even strip away parts of who you are. If we're talking about the social game and the dating game scene in the self-improvement world, you start becoming someone who you're not while you're out there meeting people. And deep down, I know deep down inside, you're thinking to yourself, this sounds like you, am I doing the right thing? But in reality, you just stripped away parts of yourself and became this dull, heavy, robotic human being who is so strict on himself. Why? Because you're chasing your worthiness through self-improvement. Eventually, you can't even enjoy simple things anymore. Watching a movie feels like a waste of time. Hanging out with friends feels unproductive. Relaxing feels lazy. You don't even allow yourself to relax with a peace of fucking mind. And you're not living life anymore. You're managing it like a goddamn spreadsheet. Always optimizing, always in your head, always up here. Ugh. I can relate to this one personally myself, so I get so passionate about it. And I'm not saying healthy habits and being more selective and intentional with your time and who you hang out with is bad. It's certainly not bad whatsoever. This advice exists for a reason. And to be honest with you, it's a huge part of my life as well, and what's made me a successful entrepreneur and what's made me grow as a man for all these years. But you can't let it become this fake sense of control to make you feel like you are worthy of something, because then it will kill you on the inside. I promise you, you won't get fat overnight if you eat that fucking burger. Enjoy yourself. I promise you, your brain won't rot if you watch like a funny TV show on a Sunday while you re-energize yourself for the next day. I've been really enjoying Ted season 2 lately. And I don't just binge it all at once. I pace myself too, because I have that balance within me. But man, Ted, the TV show on Peacock, oh my God. You guys got to fucking watch it. It's fucking hilarious. Seth MacFarlane, absolute genius. And I promise you this as well. You will not become a full-blown drug addict if you stay up late with some friends every once in a while, have a few drinks, and smoke a fucking joint. Shocker, I know. Shocker. And look, I'm not here to judge you, but I'm speaking from my own experience here. Based on the work that I've done with myself and based off of what I have experienced with so many different types of people that I've worked with over the years, if you are the type of person that'll totally spiral downhill and binge in absolute chaos from just one drink or one joint or one episode of TV, not saying this with a judgmental lens, like know your limits, but I am going to tell you the truth. There is a deeper problem you need to resolve. And honestly, it has to do with the way you view yourself as a person. And that's where the inner work and the subconscious reprogramming comes in. Because just like all those things that I mentioned earlier that can become addictions and unhealthy habits, self-improvement for a lot of guys, and I've worked with people who used to be alcoholics or struggled with some form of addiction in the past, self-improvement becomes another drug that you chase just like whatever you were chasing before, to chase a false sense of peace, when in reality, that peace already exists inside of you. That's why they go for the drugs. That's why they go for the alcohol. They're seeking something internally within themselves, a feeling, and they're trying to escape what's uncomfortable right now. That's why addictions happen. And self-improvement is no different. That's where the inner work comes in. That's where reprogramming your mind comes in, which is the foundation of all the work I do with my guys, whether they're focused on dating, social life, and growing their businesses and career, the inner work, the knowing who you are in the process of it so you don't get lost in the process and lose yourself. Inner work isn't something you do just so you can chase status. I know as men, we love status. We love power. You don't do inner work to chase status, power, girls, and to make more money. Now, that's a huge part of it, but it's not the only part of it. You do inner work so you can understand yourself and let go of ideas that no longer serve you, including ideas that your sense of self-worth is still tied to, that's trying to chase the need of always constantly needing to improve so you can feel worthy, so you can feel at peace, so you can feel relieved, so you can feel happy, whatever it is that you are currently struggling with. Now, here's another trap, since we're talking about inner work, that we need to get into. Inner work can also turn into overthinking and then become another form of losing your sense of self in the process. Look, inner work is fucking powerful. I mean, it's the core, like I said before, behind everything I do in my program. But guess what? It also becomes another damn trap. Once you become self-aware and emotionally intelligent, every trigger becomes something new you got to psychoanalyze. When a new trigger pops up, you got to keep exploring it and being in your head, which, you know what? At a certain level, that is good. And I still explore my triggers today as well. To this day, I'm living the path with you guys here. But how often do you need to really explore the same trigger that keeps popping up? How often do you got to explore it? It becomes repetitive. So many people allow inner exploration to get in the way of their goals, dreams, and ambitions. And man, I'm a really deep fucking thinker, man. So I've experienced this firsthand myself. They live too much in their heads, always trying to resolve the next trigger so it won't happen again, thinking that by resolving it a few times, it's that feeling is not going to happen again. That's not how it works. That's not how the brain works. You got to go out and experience life to be exposed to that trigger over and over and over again until you have a better understanding, instead of trying to figure it all out before you execute. You don't need to be fully healed and fully confident and fully magnetic, whatever that means for you, in order to start taking actions towards your desires and towards your goals. You will become that in the process with the inner work that you are doing. And you may already have some of these tools if you're listening to this episode and if you follow this podcast. Maybe you're into mindset. Maybe you've studied shadow work, subconscious reprogramming, and you're going to keep learning as you read more books, listen to more podcasts like these, and work with a mentor. I highly recommend myself. I'm pretty damn fucking good at what I do. Just saying. So just what I love showing myself off a little bit. Just go and explore life naturally. Let the experiences come to you as well. Go expose yourself more to those desires, and the triggers will naturally pop up. And you can explore that while you're working towards your goals physically. Living in your head will not bring it into reality, but having proper awareness and exposing yourself with action will do that. You don't need to constantly fix yourself. You can just live your life. And that goes into the next piece I want to talk about here. And it's from a lot of the masculinity content, the red pill content, and the dating content that's out there for men right now. You allow that red pill shit dating content. Sorry, I just got to laugh here because the red pill has just gone way out of fucking hand in the last 5 years. You let the red pill content turn you into a damn robot if you're focused on the dating elements of things. Look, the masculinity space has done a lot of positive things for mental health. A lot of great things that modern day therapy just, again, doesn't want to handle. They want to feminize all the men over a bit too much. They want to overly feminize the men. That's what I should really say here. And you know what? The masculinity space, even some of the red pill content, has done some amazing things for my lifestyle too. When I view it from a lens of logic, not the hatred that it's turned into towards women nowadays. You know, I make my own money. I'm disciplined. I'm able to confidently speak with women. I'm able to be myself in social settings. I don't act on my feelings to get shit done. I follow my values. I'm disciplined. I have a good work ethic. A lot of the masculinity content as a whole, there's so many different elements in the masculinity content, but a lot of it has really helped me. I got a very strong will. But one part of my journey that I want to share with you that I see with the students I've also coached in the past, and even some of the guys in Fine Alchemy Brotherhood right now as well, is that consuming too much of that content can turn them into robots. They take all this information from all these fuckboy, red pill, women haters being disguised as dating gurus and interpret the information that they're giving them as a way to always be like this stiff, emotionless, always stoic, always trying to sound clever to impress women. They've layered so many fucking rules on themselves and what it means to be masculine. They misinterpret the teachings that they close off their heart center, which I talked about on last week's episode, and they become these emotionally shut down robots. They become afraid of showing emotion, showing intensity, expressing care, making funny jokes. They're afraid that showing interest is going to make them look needy. They're afraid of taking initiative to ask for what they want from the woman that they're interested in. So they shut down huge parts of themselves and they become this dull, overly serious, overly controlled, emotionally distant men. And the wild part of all this is they lose the things that actually made them attractive in the first place, authentically, their personality, their own way of expressing their masculine edge, their passion and fire for life, their warmth, their humor, their playfulness. They completely forget to be themselves. This happened to me at one point in my dating life, and now I want to get into the identity piece as well. I can talk about the dating stuff on another episode. A lot of great things I'm talking about here that will become more episodes moving forward. You got to stop making self-improvement about your self-image, like I brought up earlier when I brought up identity. Self-improvement can slowly become about maintaining an image, especially if you're going into it with patterns that already exist in your current programming that make you feel like you are not enough or you're not worthy or there's shame there. It's happened to myself again, right? Everything I'm talking about here has happened to myself on this journey and also things I see with my clients. So I just hear it in conversation so much. That's why I'm able to have all these talking points for you guys. Anyways, sidetrack there. They want to be a disciplined man. They want to be a successful entrepreneur. They want to be a high value man, whatever the fuck that even means. Being a high value man is different for each and every man. They want to be the stoic leader, but they're all doing it for the wrong reasons, for external validation, to feel worthy. And instead of asking themselves, am I happy living this life? What do I want for my life? It becomes like this is the life I'm supposed to live, and this is exactly what I need to have by age 30, and this is who I got to become in order to become valuable, cool, attractive, and worthy, and able to keep up with society. Man, it's all fucking bullshit. It becomes a chase for validation so you can feel important in the eyes of others, in the eyes of strangers nowadays with social media. And then what they do is a lot of people will force themselves into this box as they continue their self-improvement journey, and they burn out like fucking crazy because they're not being themselves in the process. They're being inauthentic. They're suppressing so much energy internally within them. They're carrying all that weight as they are improving their lives, quote, quote, improving their lives. That again, they just burn out. That heavy energy comes with a crash, and along with that added pressure too. As a man, you need to own who you are and what you want from life, and then use self-improvement as a vehicle for you to move towards that and lean into that, while also learning how to be happy with where you're at now, which that in itself can be another episode in the future, because that can be difficult when you are very ambitious. But I know there's something in your life right now that you can be grateful and happy for, no matter where you are currently at. You don't want to form some fake identity that some random fucking guru on the internet told you need to be, because that's them. You want to live a life where you can feel authentic, where you can be authentic from every moment, from your decision making, from the way you communicate, from the way you socialize, from the way you express yourself. Because it feels heavy and empty inside when you aren't being authentic. Your body knows. And with social media nowadays and all the bullshit advice, that can be difficult to do. Which leads me to the next point I want to talk about with you now: the constant comparison and the addiction of always seeking advice. Social media has made this worse than ever. You're constantly seeing other people who appear richer, more successful, more disciplined, more productive, surrounded by women. So even when you're already applying where you are at now, and probably already doing well for the natural trajectory of life that you are on, you feel like you're behind. And at the same time, many people become addicted to the advice that they consume: the podcasts, the books, the YouTube videos, the social media posts, constantly looking for the next answer, constantly comparing themselves to where other people are at. But they lose the ability to ask themselves, how much have I grown so far? What wins have I already had so far towards my goals? Can I trust myself to give this next challenge of growth a shot my own way before binging advice online mindlessly from people who are at completely different levels? This is a lack of trust in yourself and your own individual path. Damn, again, this is another episode. So let's bring it all back, because I know this was a lot of information here and a lot to reflect on. Self-improvement should come from curiosity, not shame. Self-improvement should come from expanding yourself for the love of the fucking game. Self-improvement should come from seeing how much you can be capable of growing into whatever that fucking means for you, and to challenge yourself to move past your own limitations. The real purpose is simple, man. Remove what doesn't serve you, add what helps you grow, but keep the parts of yourself that you genuinely enjoy. You don't need to become a completely different person. You just need to be a healthier version of you. So that's all I got for you today, fellas. I hope this episode helped you out with your journey. I hope it gave you some thoughts, some reflections. And feel free to like and comment if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, please leave a 5-star review and comment as well. It will be greatly appreciated. And if you're curious about working together in any way, or you just want to check out my free resources, click the link in the show notes. Much love. I'll see you next time.